Alright, welcome. So today I have another case unboxing that I'm going to be doing. Finally got some decent lighting in here. Hopefully it'll pay off in the video. Hopefully it looks better than the low light conditions. My camera sucks in low light. I have a case that I want to unbox for you. Now this case is from a brand called MagniumGear, and this is the Neo Silent case. You can see here they actually have several SKUs of case. I'm going to be doing the Neo Silent one in this particular video. Now the story of this case is actually one that's kind of interesting. So let me tell you a little bit about it while I unbox it. Now I needed a case for an upcoming video that I'm making detailing the history of the HEDT platform, and I needed a case that was full ATX. Now, come on! Alright, here we go. There we go. Now, I didn't want to break the bank on, like, a very fancy, you know, $100 Corsair case or something like that. So, I went on Newegg, because the problem with cases is you're going to take a bath on the shipping. They suck when it comes to shipping. So, yeah. I had to go on Newegg and find something new. So I found this one. I just searched full ATX case, and this one ended up being the cheapest one. So it was from MagniumGear, called the Neo Silent, and this case ended up costing me in total $40. Now it cost me $40, but it did come with a $10 mail-in rebate, so a full ATX sized case for $30 all said and done, shipped, because shipping was free. I have no idea how they made a profit on that. I'm assuming it was just a temporary like promo deal, but that's where I got it on Newegg for a very reasonable amount of money. So I actually did some research because I had never heard of MagniumGear, and this particular case looks pretty decent, pretty well put together, right? And I was kind of curious what the deal was, where these guys came from, and you know, why? How do you have a case that looks this good? It's not I mean, it's pretty simple looking, but you know, it looks like a decent enough case for what it is. Where did these guys come from? So I did a little bit of digging on the internet, and I found that MagniumGear is I don't exactly know what the relationship is, but it is a kind of subsidiary or a sub-brand of Phanteks. Now Phanteks is one of the best case makers on the market. I've had Phanteks cases before. I think for a while my main machine was in the Phanteks Enthoo case. But I went on the Phanteks website, and they have a whole section dedicated to MagniumGear. And in fact, on the website it says, under MagniumGear, powered by Phanteks. Now, when it says powered by Phanteks, I don't know what that means. My assumption was, I think that it comes with a few fans in the case. Maybe they're Phanteks fans, I'm not sure. I guess we'll have to find out. I just wasn't sure exactly what that meant, but it looks like Phanteks, they either acquired MagniumGear as a brand, or they just created MagniumGear as a brand of kind of, you know, more cheaper budget case options rather than the Phanteks cases that are typically a little bit more premium. That one of those two things is my best guess. Kind of like how I think Rolex didn't Rolex make the Tudor brand? Doesn't Rolex own Tudor? I assume that's kind of like what the situation is here. But again, I don't know if Phanteks created MagniumGear or if they bought them and just kind of put their branding on them. They acquired them. I'm not sure. But I'm assuming it's one of those two. But if you go on the Phanteks website, this is where they'll have a MagniumGear section, and that's where you can find this case. But I bought this one off Newegg. So I figured, you know what? It's a pretty competent, pretty good-looking case. Why don't... And I got it for, you know, after my $10 mail-in rebate, $30 shipped. That's really good for a full-size ATX. This is not micro ATX. It's not mini ITX. It's full-size ATX. So, you know what? Pretty good value. Let's do an unboxing of it and see how it is. So, let's start with the front here. So, it actually does kind of have that classic kind of Phanteks look. I've also seen this type of style from, like, Be Quiet as well. You have, on both sides, you kind of have this whole cutout along the front here. This is all vented. So, you have a whole circumference around the front panel for ventilation. This is solid. This is solid. That's plastic, actually. It looks like it's brushed aluminum. The texture is like brushed aluminum, but that's actually plastic. That's a shame. But it does have this ventilation, but this is solid. So any kind of airflow you're going to get some airflow through the front, of course, but it is going to be kind of minimal. Let's see if I can pull this front panel off to get access to the fans. Ooh, this does not feel good. Okay. Oh, that was actually quite easy. All right. Fair enough. So we get access to the front here. We have what looks to be a... Is this detachable? It feels like it. It is. It's magnetic. A magnetic dust filter. How cool is that? Very nice. Okay. And it has these little pins so you know where exactly to slot it in on the case. And, oh, okay. So, yeah, it just slots in like that. And then there you go. And then this is interesting. So on the bottom here, this is how they're doing, apparently, hard drive access. That's interesting. So we have removable hard drive sleds. Typically when I see these, they're typically here in the back. And you would pull them out of the back panel here. But here, this is interesting. You have to pull them out of the front. So every time you want to do your hard drives, you got to pull your front panel off. Ordinarily, you'd have to pull the back panel off anyway. I don't know which of these systems I like more. I'm tempted to say, well, I was tempted to originally say just pull them off the back panel, but then again, that's typically where all your cable management's going to be for your power supply. You don't want all that stuff just spilling out if it's, you know, cramped. So maybe this is actually a more efficient option. But my question here is, if you have your hard drives right here, where are you routing the cables from the hard drives? I assume through here. Is there enough clearance? Let's see. Yeah, I guess there is. So I guess the SATA and power supply cables come through here, I assume. Maybe. I don't know, actually. You would have to have some pretty long SATA cables. Or maybe the SATA connectors aren't on this side. Maybe you pull them out and then the SATA connector is on this side and it goes inside the case. And then the back here is just blank. Maybe that's how you're supposed to do it. I don't know. But these just kind of, they just go in pretty seamlessly. You can line up the rails on them. There we go. Just clip in, and then when you want to pull them out, you just pull on the sides here, and they slide out. It's actually a lot easier to take it out when there's something in it, rather than this, when there's nothing in it. There's nothing to grip onto there. Yeah. Alright. But, this is as good a time as any, too. I love this when manufacturers do this. You put a hard drive sized box of accessories in here for convenience. We'll pop that back in there. There we go. That's your hard drive cage caddy. So there you go. I do like that even though it's 2024 now and hard drives are kind of becoming not as widely used in the desktop. I do like that they still have the option of letting you have at least a couple. I remember back in the day they would have like, you know, between 4 and 7 hard drive cages on some premium cases, because that's what people used back when SSDs were at a premium. So this is the accessory box, and I gotta say, compared to some of the Corsair cases I've reviewed, this is a very unimpressive accessory box. So we have a manual, I assume, some sort of instruction, documentation, etc. In fact, that might be where our no. The mail-in rebate actually came in the box, so never mind. So we have our manual, and then all we have is this tiny little accessory bag. So what we have in here are a couple replacement thumb screws, a couple of the screws that you use for your case fans, so those screws for your case fans, and then motherboard screws. Pretty standard stuff. I like that they give you replacements. So if I lose my thumb screws, I can have some extra ones here. I do like that. That's very considerate, very nice. I do like that. So that's not bad. But I was expecting more. On some Corsair cases I bought, I do get like some cable, some zip tie or Velcro ties for my cable management. This did give you a couple zip ties, but I don't know. Not a lot here. But again, $30 case, so I can't beat it up too much for that. So let's just keep on moving on here. So I'll pop the front panel back on. Just assume it just kind of snaps back on like so. Oh, yeah, that's pretty seamless actually. That's actually not too bad at all. All right, so let's take a look at the top here. So the top is kind of restrictive compared to some other cases I've looked at. So this is what we got for the top here. Have our I/O. This power button, that's the power button. We got reset. Not very high quality buttons, if you can tell. 2 USB 3.0 ports, that's nice. Headphone, microphone jack, pretty standard stuff. No USB-C on the front. $30 case, totally fine, I get it. But the rest of this is solid. It's not vented. We do have some ventilation right here, so you can do 2 120mm fans or a 240mm radiator if you like. That's fine. I'm assuming the idea behind this is that it's easier to just do one piece of steel and cut slits in it rather than make a mesh for the fans. I guess that requires a little bit more machining. I'm not entirely sure, but that's what we got. Because this isn't even a mesh. These are just a bunch of slits that are cut out. I haven't really seen it done that way before, but I'm assuming it's a cost-cutting measure just because, you know, it's a $30 case after it's all said and done. Got a tempered glass side panel. Also, got to give credit for it because you used to not be able to take this for granted, but we actually have a power supply shroud. Really, really cool. I guess we can go ahead and take off the glass side panel, tempered glass side panel, and let's see what we have in here. Alright, so we detach the side panel by unscrewing the thumb screws. Are these captive? They are captive thumb screws. $30 case. I like this a lot. I'm actually kind of blown away. And then this just kind of comes off. It just, it seems to just kind of sit on this little metal, it just sits on this little metal lip down here. So this doesn't really have much of a safety mechanism for staying on there, so you want to be very careful. That thing can pop off without you realizing it. We do have protective film on the front and back side, so both sides are going to be safe for you there. So let's get into it. Now, $30 case, again, I gotta keep reiterating it. So let's see what it comes with. We have a single 120mm fan in the back. Very, very cheap feeling fan. I can't tell what brand of fan that is, but it's a very cheap feeling fan. It does not have like rubber grommets or anything for anti-vibration. It's just a very, very cheap fan. I might replace that with something else if I'm building something pretty nice in here. But as far as budget cases go, perfectly fine. And then we have our we actually have our front cables for our motherboard hooked up here. So we have our HD audio, USB 3.0 for our front panel connectors. We already have those routed in the hole in the bottom, so we are good to go there. And see, in terms of, okay, so that's pretty nice. In terms of the motherboard standoffs, we actually have 9 standoffs for our motherboard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you could fit actually an extended ATX board in here, eATX. So if you want to use a workstation board or a larger than normal ATX board, you can fit it in here. You got all the room for it. Got plenty of clearance on this side for routing your cables coming through on this side. You want to route your 24 pin or whatever the case may be. That shouldn't be a problem. Yeah, not bad, not bad. Okay, so that's kind of a tour of the inside. On the bottom here, we have a couple more holes for cable management for your power supply cables. I'm not seeing any mounts here for 2.5-inch SSDs. That's kind of a shame. I was expect some cases have it so you can put your 2.5-inch SSDs on the bottom here and look at them, I guess, but not on this one. That's fine. That's fine. Maybe they're in the back. We'll see. All right. So we have our, like I said, we got our fan grill right here, 120 millimeters for exhaust, and then we have our PCI Express slot covers. I don't know what the proper terminology is. So you have these screws. These are not captive thumb screws. They come out like that, and then this little piece of metal kind of sits and it pulls off, and then you have, this is interesting, you have all of your slot covers. They're just removable slot covers held in place with thumb screws. These are not just actually like screw-in screws. These are real legitimate thumb screws. They're nice. You could totally pull these out yourself if you want to service it. You don't even need a screwdriver because they're thumb screws. You can use them yourself with your fingers. That's great. I actually have not seen that even on higher end cases. I usually just see this one like retention plate mechanism like that held in with one screw just because it's a very cheap way of doing it. That's what I normally look at even on high end cases. So seeing that is pretty cool on a budget case, I will say. So I'm for $30, I'm really liking it. I'm really liking what I'm seeing so far. And like I said, this is a either sister brand or acquisition or something of Phanteks. Phanteks has made great cases. I'm a huge fan of Phanteks. So, you know, having something that's kind of backed by them, I guess, however that relationship works, I think is really cool. I mean, and it shows that, you know, you can deliver. You have to cut some corners, obviously, to save on cost, but you can deliver some pretty good stuff to the budget sector if you want. Got our power supply cut out, pretty standard stuff. Looking at the bottom, on the bottom here, oh dear. All right, we have a removable filter here. It's got a little handle you can pull. Removable filter, dust filter, for our power supply intake, and then that just slides down. It doesn't seem to be any kind of retention for this thing. It just kind of seems to slide freely. I don't think that there's anything holding that in place, at least not that I can tell. And then we have some, okay, these are not rubberized feet, but they are foam, so they will, you know, do a decent job of reducing vibrations. Might not be as grippy as rubber on your desk, but they will still dampen some vibrations pretty well. Okay, so I guess the last thing to kind of look at is the back. We'll take off. Again, we just got 2 more thumb screws. I'm assuming these are also going to be captive. They are. I'm loving that. I love it. This is so easy when it comes to maintenance. It's awesome. I don't even like the captive thumb screws. The standoffs are already all put into place. I don't have to do anything. It's great. Pull it back. Comes off. Let's take a look at the back here. Alright, so we actually, for a $30 case, guys, we actually have quite a bit of room for cable management. So we have our power supply bay down here in the bottom. You can fit, looks like any size of power supply that you want. Can we take the, okay, so on the bottom here, I actually didn't notice this, but we have these four screws in the front, 2 and 2, and what we can do is if we don't want to use it, we can actually unscrew and take out that hard drive cage. So if we want more room for our cables for our power supply and we're not using hard drives, we can take that out. I love that option. I love it. I have seen cases where the hard drive cage has been like bolted into the case, like riveted. So if you wanted to remove it, you'd need like an angle grinder or something. Not so with this one. That's great to see. Love it. Love to see it. But this indent on the side here is going to give us plenty of room for cable management. Comes with, look at this, zip ties, or Velcro ties, excuse me, not zip ties, Velcro ties for routing all of our cables. That's awesome. So that's great. And then over here, and oh my gosh, look at this, look at this, look at this. They have the fan cable pre-routed for you down to here. So it comes from the fan, goes up all the way here through these little cable holders, cable clips, and then terminates right here. And we can plug this into whatever fan connector on the motherboard we want. That's pretty awesome. We have our USB front panel connectors coming down here. It's all wired onto a daughter board PCB up here, so that's interesting. And then it looks like I was correct that this little plate right here is where we can mount our 2.5-inch SSDs. So we have one, interesting. We have one screw, thumb screw, and then that pulls off, and then there you go. So then I assume you just put your 2.5-inch SSDs. It looks like, wow, 3. You can fit 3 SSDs on this thing. Then you screw them in with the screws that are provided in the accessory packet. Slot that back in there. A little bit of tension. Plug the, screw the thumb screw back in with your hand because you don't need a screwdriver. Actually, I might need one. Oh, here we go. And then, boom, you have all your SSDs mounted. It's awesome. And then you have your hard drive cage, plenty of room for cable management. I gotta tell you, I am kind of loving this for 30 bucks. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So, I guess kind of key takeaways is, I don't know, for how much space you get in here, and for how many kind of forward-looking and backwards-looking features you get, for 30 bucks, I am going to give it 2 thumbs up. I'm definitely going to give it a recommendation. Yeah, I guess if I were to give any kind of criticism, now, again, this criticism, take it for what it is, because, again, guys, you're getting a full-sized ATX from, not Phanteks, but a company that's, like, backed or associated with Phanteks, you know, for 30 bucks. I mean, you gotta be happy with that. I guess for criticism, I will say that the airflow is something that you're going to be compromising on. So this is not a mesh front. You have a cutout, a circumference on this front side where you can get air, but it is kind of restrictive on the top. If you want to use these as an intake, again, not very ventilated, very restrictive as well. These are just kind of cut out slots on the top, and then the rest of this is just solid. So it's pretty rough in terms of airflow, I will say. One thing I didn't kind of mention here at the front of the case, the black is so hard to see on camera. You do have enough room for 2 120mm fans in the front if you want to use those as an intake so the air can come through the front. Again, it's kind of restricted, but, you know, take what you can get, I suppose. So the airflow is probably going to be the biggest issue, but other than that, everything else about this case, for the money, is so gosh darn compelling. I gotta give it a recommendation. I think it's great. You get all your standoffs there. It's kind of what I like to say. it's a very pragmatic case. It's all function, no fluff. No RGB, no fancy light controls, none of that. Just very, very straightforward, very no nonsense. I like it. I like it a lot, and I'm here for it. I will leave a link for this case in Newegg down in the description below. And if you want to check it out, please do. I don't know if it's still going to be on promo at the time of this video, but I got this for $40, $30 with a mail-in rebate, free shipping. So if you can snag it for that price, it is a steal, and I highly recommend you do it. This is going to be a great case for anyone looking for one. I remember, guys, when I bought my first case, it was a $40 case. It was from a no-name brand, and it was really, really cheap, and it had even worse ventilation than this. It didn't even have a quarter of the features that this thing had. Removable hard drive cages, forget about it. Power supply shroud, forget about it. Power supply is mounted at the top. So, you know, we've come a long way in budget cases, and I really enjoy seeing that. I really enjoy seeing these kinds of good features brought down to the budget sector. And I'm really, really happy that we get to see that in cases, because, you know, one of the things about a case is that a case is one of the most reusable parts of a computer that you build. So being able to actually get very high quality, but these nice features that make maintenance so easy, what that does is it ensures that you're going to be using this case for many years to come. And I think that's great, personally. So very, very happy with this purchase. It's going to be a fantastic addition to the project that I'm doing, which I want you guys to keep an eye on in the channel in the coming, probably in the coming weeks. I would say it's a long time for me to get the rest of the footage, just because I got to record a lot of stuff, but I think it'll be worth it. It's really good. I'm kind of moving into some longer form, kind of more experimental, informative, historical content that I think is really cool, not just, you know, generic unboxings, I guess, at least not all the time, but this one was pretty interesting, so I wanted to actually do an unboxing this one. I'm actually kind of excited for it, but I'm kind of transitioning into making videos that I'm actually passionate about and I actually have something I want to say and talk about, rather than feeling like I have to make videos out of stuff that is boring, because I feel like that's translatable into the actual content, and I don't want that to be the case. I want my excitement and, you know, energy and enthusiasm about this stuff to be representative of the content. So yeah, I'm excited to keep working, and I'm excited to get a couple things published in the next couple months that will hopefully be pretty interesting. So stay tuned. But I hope you guys liked my unboxing. This is the MagniumGear Neo Silent case. Great budget case. Totally recommend it. Let me know what you guys think down below. I will have a link for this. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe to the channel as well. Want to get to 1,000 subscribers. And we'll see you next time.